The U.S. has finally agreed to remove soil contaminated with radioactivity in the southern Spanish town of Palomares. You might be thinking, why is the U.S. helping clean up nuclear waste all the way in Spain? Well, the answer is simple. We're the reason it's there in the first place, Jose. Now, I take you back to the height of the Cold War 50 years ago. A U.S. Air Force B-52 bomber carrying nuclear weapons exploded after colliding with a tanker airplane which was refueling it. That exploded over the town of Palomares, and now, after 50 years, you clearly still have contamination. Now, right after it happened, we offered to help out. We went over there and we removed 1,700 tons of that, what we thought was all of the radioactive soil in that area. Now, in hopes that nobody would hear about this too much and this story wouldn't get out, you know, we kind of kept it under the radar. Spain agreed to, because they have a lot of tourism in the south of Spain, because a lot of people like to go to their beaches. For that reason, the tourism minister even came out and took a photo of him emerging from the ocean after it, saying, everything's fine, you're not going to grow a third eye, it's safe, don't be scared. So they didn't want to make a huge deal about it until the 1990s. When this started to come up again, people started to complain about numerous problems that they were having. They found out after a lot of tests that this is still very radioactive. So since the 90s, after another 20 years, it took us until now for John Kerry to go over there and finally high five with Mr. Jose Manuel Garcia, the Spanish foreign minister, and come to an agreement after all this time. What do you think? I mean, it's taken a while.
For me, immediately I need to ask why it takes us 50 years to clean after our own mess. There needs to be a foreign policy reason to it, and for me there's two big international developments that make the U.S. need support. One, the UN Global Warming Summit that is coming at the end of November, but also the need for the U.S. to have a presence, a military presence in Europe, because Germany right now is going in a different direction. They're going into demilitarizing the country. So I don't think they're going to support us being there that much. Now, we know that Spain has been opening the doors to the U.S. military to grow their presence there because they have access to the Mediterranean. And facing the conflict in Syria, this is strategic. This is a very, very strong position for the U.S. to defend their interest in the region. So it makes a lot of sense for the U.S. to go, have a gesture, clean up their own mess, and in exchange, have a good relationship with the government of Spain that allows the U.S. to establish troops and operation bases in the region.
Right, I mean, and it's a no-brainer. I mean, this happened so damn long ago. We've been talking about doing it for so long, and now all of a sudden, when we have something to gain, we go over there and we want to remove all their soil. Now, what are we going to do with this contaminated soil is the question. We plan to bring it back to Nevada, good old Nevada, where we can bury it there, because apparently we've been bombing Nevada for years now with our tests for nuclear weapons, so it's not going to really make any difference, right? A couple more tons of radioactive material. We'll just bring it back here and hide it amongst the other radioactive crap. No one's ever going to notice. What do you want to say?
Just not too long ago, I was reporting with Mark about how here in California, in San Onofre, in the nuclear plant, they're gonna put the spent nuclear fuel from the reactor that is out of service. They're gonna bury it in the sand of this famous surf spot, because they don't have money or they can't find a better way to do it. And it's very hard for me to believe that we don't have the money to transport nuclear waste from San Diego to Nevada, but we do have the resources to transport that same waste from Spain to Nevada. So obviously this idea that there's a second layer of reasons why we're doing this, it's even, it makes even more sense.
Without a doubt. And a lot of people would be quick to criticize and say, well, hey, we have a lot of problems regarding waste in this country. Why don't we settle that first before we help out other countries? But you have to understand,
it's our responsibility.
It's completely our fault. We made the mistake, right? It was our nuclear weapons in the first place that exploded. So we have to take responsibility. And we have to do these kinds of things, especially when there are other key factors in question, right? And we know it's not about just getting rid of this contaminated soil. There's always more to the story. But of course, we want to know what you guys have to say. Do you agree? Do you not agree? Also, what do you think about the waste in this country that we should actually take care of? Like, for example, what Jose was talking about in San Diego. Let us know in the comments below. And if you haven't already, subscribe to the Lip TV 2 for more.